Hey everybody, this is Perch. I've talked a lot about business models in comics, how to get things distributed, all the rest, that kind of stuff. And what's funny is I get lots of feedback behind the scenes. People certainly there's people put in comments, and so on in the video, but there's also a lot of commentary behind the scenes of what people enjoy, what they don't enjoy. What's curious is that if I look at the hit traffic and if I look at how people stick through the video, do they abandon early or do they go through the whole thing? The traffic and the numbers rarely correspond with what people are saying in the comments. I always love it when I do a video and in the comments people are like, "This is a boring video. I don't want to hear." But then you look at the stats and it's like, nah, it's actually this held 90% of the audience's attention to the very end, and the hit traffic is higher than normal. So, I mean, the numbers often tell a different story than what people are saying. One of the cases where this is very true is on the investment videos, and the ones talking about kind of the business and the operations. Those tend to do pretty well from a retention standpoint, meaning the people who are in, they stay in. Now, the videos that do absolutely the best from a numbers perspective, the people who are actually clicking in, tend to be the ones that are either more spicy, I'm cursing more, or they deal with some online drama, which saddens me to some extent. But that is absolutely what the bulk of the audience is wanting to listen to. The ones that either make criticisms either to CG or to anti-CG directly, the ones where it covers that, tend to get a lot of traffic, but also tend to get downvoted in bulk. Meaning somebody come in. And it always is like I can tell when somebody else is bitching about it on another forum because things will be kind of floating along, and they can see when the votes are coming in, and suddenly within like a 20-minute time period, all the downvotes hit all at once, and that's been funny. Somebody ran a bot to downvote one of the videos once, and then YouTube like flagged it and it wiped out all those votes. But it got me thinking: did somebody pay money to downvote a video because they didn't like the commentary on whatever it was? I don't even remember the topic, but anyway, that seems absurd to me. But regardless, on the investment videos and on the making money videos, those are ones where the comments that I often get are 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 bizarre, and in this one way, people who are in the comic industry, meaning artists, writers, editors, people who are at big or small scale, either the indies or for the big two or whatever, consistently, those people like to write in saying this video was boring. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. Why would you do this? Nobody wants to hear it. Occasionally, I'll get people who are like, "You clearly don't know the business," and it's always peculiar because the people who will come in saying you don't know what you're talking about, you don't know the business, are the people who are largely failing at succeeding in this industry. That's always the weirdest part. And the people who are really into it, or the people who are like, "Wow, I wish we had more videos like this," tend to be the fans. Now, to be clear, these videos are not the "Hey, you're doing it all wrong," but rather, here's some business models you could try. Here's a different approach. Here's how. That's that's the split, and I find it very very peculiar. But many of the same people who will write in saying this is boring, I don't like to hear it, within almost to a match, within 90 days, are putting up GoFundMe's for paying rent or random elements like that. It's just strange. I just very strange. I'm often surprised by people working in an industry where there are clearly financial problems for creators, meaning they do have to go and do GoFundMe's for my furnace broke and I'm going to freeze to death if I don't get if I don't get cash. Um, or people who are complaining about like I have no job security. I'm on this one comic and there's only 2 issues left that are on my deal and I have no idea what I'm doing next. Nobody has told me. Um, why do those people, the people who are in those situations, cling to the current industry business model, the current way the financials work, when it's clearly bad for them? It's clearly not working. You are wholly reliant on a spouse or parent or somebody like that to buy you food and keep you alive. Why are you embracing a system that is broken and not working for you? It's very weird to me. I just it's very very strange. I will go and I'll see, you see like a guy like Joe Glass tweeting about money is tight. Please go buy my books. I'm struggling. And then you see like a couple days later, a very full throated defense of the current business model. I'm not talking, social issues or, is this fan mean tweeting at another fan? I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm talking about just literally, you know, hey, here's how contracts work. Here's how rights work. Why do you embrace and defend that process when you can't make rent? That's very weird to me. I would think you of all people would be motivated to do something different. And in that line, here's a viewer mail that asks a similar question, or a question of where this all is going to. Maybe this is the answer. It says it's a relatively short mail. It says, with the way the comic industry is going, it feels unwise to wager making one's living solely on making comics. For those that have entered the industry in recent years and made it their main focus, seem to be miserable. Yet pros who feel less burned out, like friend of the channel Jim Zub, have actual jobs outside of comics. Should one write comics as more of a hobby to express themselves rather than banking on it to get a Netflix deal? That's the mail. So to that last question, whatever the first option is, the second option, banking on it to get a next Netflix deal, is the wrong option. Definitely, like any other answer, is almost is true there. No, you should absolutely not be entering comics hoping you're getting a Netflix deal. That's a horrible idea. That is kind of, you should be thinking about that along the same lines as today I'm going to buy a lottery ticket on the way to work, and I hope I win $1 million. That's how you should behave with the Netflix deal. That's how where your mind should be. You should certainly not be doing the, I'm not going to work today because I'm stopping to get a lottery ticket, and that's my plan A, B, and C for how I'm going to feed myself this month, is that I'm going to make $1 million. That's a terrible plan. That's the unfortunately, I think that's how a lot of things are operating, and how a lot of people are going about doing their stuff. Um, I can't go all the way there to this mail. I can't say no, it should just be a hobby. I can't, because look, I can't reconcile in my own mind that comic books have greater recognition in mainstream media and pop culture than almost ever before. They're being made into billion-dollar movies. The industry, the money, the interest is here. Therefore, we need to keep fighting, need to keep figuring out how to right size or make the business model correct so it all works out. Because the answer of, everybody should just give up and make it a hobby is it doesn't fit the amount of possible revenue that exists here. And it does exist. If people are willing to go out and grab it, it exists. I don't think the answer, and I've said this before, because invariably when we talk about things like this, somebody will come into the comments and say, well, that's why everybody should do crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is not a sure bet either. Crowdfunding in many ways, unless you're putting in heavy work into it, is like the lottery ticket option. You don't know if people are going to come in and do things. You have to work at that as a job, just like any other job, or you're not going to get anywhere. You don't just, put up your comic and say, F the mainstream, I'm doing what I want, CG forever, and people are going to throw cash your way. You actually have to put in, you have to put in the work. You have to promote your book. You have to make sure that as you're creating the book, you don't spend more than you're going to make. You have to watch your campaign. There's actual, it's a job. It's always a job. No matter what group you're in, no matter any of that, it is a job. And by the way, this cuts every direction. There are plenty of longtime industry pros who have said, I've worked in Marvel, therefore, when I do a crowdfunding campaign, I'm going to make tons of money because I'm already famous. I've heard those words come out of people's mouths, and they get unhappily surprised when they go do one. And it's like, oh no, my success didn't carry over from Marvel Comics. It's almost as if People come and buy the comic I worked on because Spider-Man was in it, as opposed to me. There's very few people out there who have the name recognition to just be an automatic buy. Very, very few. Many are reliant on the characters they're doing. So, all that said, none of it is an excuse for hard work. You got to get out and hustle. Um, it can't be a hobby. Like I would never describe a hobby as, hey, to be successful in this hobby, I had to go out and really work my ass off and hustle. That's not a hobby either. But I do take your point that comics, it's not if you're going to pick it as a destination point. It's kind of like my father, when it's like, well, what do you want to do with your life? And I'm like, oh, I could be an artist. I could go to art school and be an artist. My dad's like, no, you don't want to be broke. Maybe you don't want to do that. I mean, he said it in a much nicer way. But if you go to your parents and they're like, what are you going to major in college? It's like, well, 18th century English literature. Your parents are gonna be like, you're gonna be broke your entire life. What's your plan? What's your other, like? How about you pick something that will put you on good financial footing, and then that's your hobby. That's where comics has kind of slid into becoming. If you want to make this your job, you can certainly be successful at comics, but be prepared to work your ass off and probably work harder than you would if, say, you went into the tech industry and became a software engineer. Not to say all software engineers are lazy, but I'll tell you, your odds of getting a $250,000 a year paycheck going to be a lot faster and a lot quicker and a lot simpler if you're a software developer than, say, a comic writer or artist. It's going to be a lot easier to make that path. So if your goal is to make a lot of money, comic professional is not really, that should not be your go-to plan. Consider doing something else, giving yourself a financial cushion, and then moving into comics after that. That might be a better place to go. But I also think by saying that, I don't want to accept that answer, meaning it doesn't have to be that way. It shouldn't have to be that way. And the part that everybody, from hopefuls to comic pros, should align around is to say, we need this business to actually function like a business, spit out money like a business, take advantage of billion-dollar movies and IP and other things, and make this thing a destination point that where people can come and they could jump into the industry and they can become rich. We should be able to deliver on that promise. If we can't, then we haven't solved it right. We need to keep working harder in order to do that. That's what comics should become. I don't want to give up and say, no, they should just be a hobby. No, because frankly, that means that if it's a hobby, that also means there's no stakes, and there are stakes to this business. And the people who realize that, figure it out, and hustle, they do well. Anyway, there's my answer. Thank you very much for the mail. Interesting. We'll keep talking about the numbers in the business, even if they're super boring to some people, because what do I care? This is just a hobby. Thanks for listening.